شبات شالوم، خیلی خوش اومدید. شبات نخمو هست، یکی از زیباترین شبات‌های سال هست و من با اجازه بزرگترا چون یک مقدار مهمون خارجی داریم دبارتورای امروز رو به انگلیسی میگم و بعد یه مقدارش رو به فارسی باز تکرار خواهم کرد. This Shabbat is Shabbat Nachamu, the Shabbat right after Tisha B'Av, one of the most important Shabbats of the year, one of the most powerful Shabbat of the year, and we read Parasha Vaethanan. At the beginning of the parasha, we see that Moshe Rabbeinu tells us that he prayed. He prayed so heartfully, with all his essence, with all his being, that he could lead us to the land of Israel. And we know the land of Israel represents the highest level of elevation, the highest level of spirituality. So somehow Moshe Rabbeinu wants to take us to Israel by himself, just like a father who wants to take his children to the place that is most holy, most spiritual. He says, at that time, Ba'et Ha'eh, he tells the Bnei Israel that at that time I prayed. And Merubalim explains that the numerical value of the word Vaethanan, it's 515. 515. What does it mean? And it talks about Moshe prayed. You know, we all pray. We all pray. We are praying today. Sometimes we receive the answer to our prayer, and sometimes it seems that we don't get the answer to our prayer. Why? Why it seems that sometimes God listens to us, we receive what we ask for, and sometimes we don't. It seems like we don't. So what's the problem? As we always learn in the Kabbalah classes, in Shabbat lectures, there is no problem with the light force. There is no shortcoming from the side of the holiness God. The problem is within us. The problem is, where is our consciousness when we pray? And what should be our consciousness when we pray for others? When you pray for somebody to become healed, when you pray somebody to get married, when you pray for somebody to have sustenance, what should be our consciousness? One of the benefits of this Shabbat, one of the benefits of the Parasha Vaethanan is Moshe is trying to teach us what should be our consciousness, how should we pray. And the Merubalim explains, when it says Ba'et Ha'eh, at this time when you pray, there is a huge secret to it. And the secret is, you know, sometimes we don't feel right when we pray. We might be upset, we might be sad, or we might feel that we're not worthy. Just a few minutes ago, I did something really wrong. I did something horrible, I did something awful, and I'm not worthy to ask God. I'm not worthy to pray to God, ask for healing for somebody. And Moshe is teaching us that when we want to pray, when we want to ask God for something, it doesn't matter what did I do a minute before, an hour before, or my even previous life, what I did. At any moment, I can have direct connection to the light force of God, and I can ask for what I need to ask. So when we feel not worthy, when we don't believe that our praying, our asking is not really connecting to the life force of God, it's only the Satan who's telling us we're not worthy. Who are you to pray? Only Moshe Rabbeinu could pray. You cannot pray. You're not worthy. That's the consciousness of the Satan. Mehubalim explained that at any moment of your life, and it has nothing to do with who you are and what did you do before, you have an amazing connection to the life force of God. And Ari Agadosh explains in this parasha that the fact that the numerical value of the word Vaethanan is 515, because Ari explains that there are 500 levels between where we pray and where our prayer goes to the upper world to draw down whatever we pray for. Let's say you're praying for sustenance. You're praying for healing for somebody else. You're praying for a relationship. There are 515 levels that we can draw these blessings. This 500 dimension, of this 515 dimension, there are angels, there are malachim that take our prayer and take it to the level of 500. Imagine there are 515 steps that when I pray, my request has to go to that level, and there are certain angels that they come to assist us. They take our request, they take our prayer, and they take it to the level of 500. What happens to the last 15? And if you pay attention, the numerical value of 15 is Yud Hey. The two first letters of the greatest name of the light force, the Yud Hey Vav Hey. So Ari explains, and this is simply for those who wants to have the meditation of when they pray, where their consciousness should be, especially for those who come to the Kabbalah classes. The meditation, when I pray, when I ask for healing for somebody, when I ask for sustenance for somebody, Ari explains, the 15, the Yud Hey, connects us to the Yud and the Hey of the Yud Hey Vav Hey, which is Chokhmah and the Bina of the light force. And when I bring these two, which call it a Zivug, which is the unity of the male and the female, the father and the mother, in the upper world, then the Malachim will do their job. They take our prayer to the 500 level, and then the power of the Yud K totally opens up the door to where all the blessings are. Ari explains that the Yud Hey is like the fuel. It's like the fuel that gives power to these angels to break down all these gates, all these levels, so I could have a complete direction between myself and where the light force is, where all the blessing is, where the healing is, and I can connect to it and I can bring it down. So two major aspects of consciousness we have to have. First of all, no matter if you're sad, if you're upset, if you're angry, if you don't feel comfortable, if you don't feel worthy, put that all aside. Put that all aside. At any moment of your life, you could have a direct connection to the life force of God. And then, the fact that the name of this Shabbat is Shabbat Nahamu comes from the Haftarah that we read. The Haftarah starts with Nahamu, Nachamu. It's from the book of Isaiah. And it's in the vision of the Isaiah And there is a sentence in the Haftarah that says, the reason that the Mashiach hasn't come, is because when Mashiach comes and sees that people are dry, or even their kindness is dry. What does that mean? And the Zohar, in Tikkunei Zohar, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai explains that when Isaiah mentions that Mashiach wants to come, but he sees us dry, or even our kindness is dry, is because we always have personal agenda when we pray. We always put ourselves first when we pray. And because of that, we cannot reach that level that we just talked about. Every time I need to connection to the realm of miracles, to the realm of blessing, to the realm of healing, I totally have to nullify my own personal desire, my own personal agenda. That's why in this Kenisa, we constantly say, pray for somebody else. Pray for healing for somebody else. Pray for blessing for somebody else. Put yourself out of the equation. There is a story of Baal Shem Tov. We know that Baal Shem Tov would travel to different synagogues, different cities, and would pray with people. One Shabbat, they take him to this amazing synagogue that is full of people, and everybody's praying. Everybody's praying very, very hard, very diligently. And Baal Shem Tov gets to the door, and he tells the student, oh, I can't walk in there. And they ask him, why? Everybody's praying so hard. Why can't you join? He says, yes, everybody's praying so hard, but everybody's praying so hard for himself. Nothing is going up. All the praying is staying in that realm, in that room. Nothing is going out of this room. Because everybody is into himself. I want healing for myself. I want sustenance for myself. I want honor for myself. I want good relationship for myself. And when I say myself, according to Kabbalists, I'm talking about the circle around me. My own family, my own being, my own consciousness. This Shabbat, the Shabbat Nachamu, if we really want to bring Nachamu into our life, if we really want to bring all the blessing into our life, we have to understand that the only way we bring blessing, we get our prayer answer, is to become absolutely selfless. Absolutely, I want to pray for somebody else without me being involved whatsoever. And then I can connect to this realm of 515. And I have to understand, no matter where I am, no matter where my consciousness is, no matter what I did, at any time I can make a connection. Sometimes I have to share this about myself. Some mornings I get up and I hear a bad news or a negative news, and I want to put on my tefillin, and I'm not sure if I should put on my tefillin now. I should wait until I feel good, until I feel ready. But the answer is, that's the time that you need to put on your tefillin. That's the time to overcome whatever my consciousness gets stuck with the power of Satan. Every time we feel sad, we feel not worthy, it's not our neshama. It's the consciousness of Satan who wants to make you delay your connection to the light force of God. You're not worthy to put on your tefillin. You're not worthy to pray. You're nobody to ask. Moshe tells us this Shabbat, this parasha, Vaethanan, that every one of us has the purest form of the light force of God, what we call the neshama. And this neshama has direct connection to the light force of God only if we put all this klipot, all this negative force that attach itself to our consciousness. And every time we want to pray, we want to connect and meditate on the Yud Hey of the Yud Hey Vav Hey, to connect to Chokhmah, and Bina. Shabbat Shalom.